Hey, it's Dr. John Terry, the Black Belt Leader, and welcome to this Words of Wisdom Wednesday, where we take a look at leadership insights from the Bible. Now, whether you're a person of faith or not, the leadership insights contained in these 66 books of the Bible, spanning thousands of years of human history, gives us a look at how individuals utilized, profited, or failed to profit from good leadership, bad leadership, poor leadership, and great leadership. These lessons learned are applicable today and can help you and I do a better job at leading ourselves and leading others. Now, if you're just now joining us for the first time, let me catch you up to where we are. We're in the book of Exodus looking at leadership lessons from the life of Moses. If you know the story of Moses, fantastic. If you don't, let me give you a thumbnail to catch you up. Moses was born in the land of Egypt during a time that the children of Israel, the Israelites, were living in an area called Goshen. The Pharaoh had become concerned over the number of Israelis that were growing in his land and feared that they might overthrow him and ordered all male children to be executed. Now, the parents, wanting to keep their child alive, hid their child for as long as possible. But when it became impossible to hide him at home, they put him in a basket, they waterproofed it, they floated this basket in the river in an area of bulrushes to try to protect their child and continue to raise that child in secret. Pharaoh's daughter, coming down to the Nile River to bathe, came across this baby, fell in love, and adopted this baby as her own. So this child that had been destined for destruction had been taken into Pharaoh's own family and raised as a child of Egypt. Now, as Moses grew up and learned his true identity, he discovered that his people, the Israelites, had been enslaved by the Egyptians and were being forced to build the cities as slave labor. Moses saw an Egyptian soldier abusing an Israelite, and anger welled up within him, and he murdered the soldier. As a result of that, he had to flee the land of Egypt to protect his own life and ended up going to the land of Midian, where there he met a beautiful lady and married into the family of Jethro and spent time as a shepherd, leading as the lead shepherd of a farming and ranching community where he had an opportunity to learn some valuable leadership skills that would be beneficial to him later on. You can learn more about this as you go back and listen to or watch other leadership insights from the Bible available on YouTube and Spotify. Now, let me pick up the story where we're at. Moses had a burning bush encounter where God called him to go back to Egypt and to free his children, the people of Israel that were enslaved. We're going to continue right there as Moses and God are having a conversation. Exodus chapter 6, verse 28 and 29. Now, when the Lord spoke to Moses in Egypt, he said to him, I am the Lord. Tell Pharaoh, the king of Egypt, everything I tell you. Now, in this short passage of scripture, there's an insight from leadership that we need to pick up, and that's this. Leaders don't always lead from the top. You may be a mid-manager leader. You may be a lower manager leader. In any organization, you've got the CEO at the top. You've got the president. And then you've got managers. You've got shift leaders. You've got other individuals that are team leading. We all lead in different roles at different times. Leadership is multi-directional. It's 360. You as a leader can lead down. You can lead sideways. You can lead at an angle, or you can lead up from the bottom. Now, as we look at this particular passage in the book of Exodus, here's what we see. Moses was in a leadership role, but he was not the top leader in the organization. The top CEO role belonged to God, who had hired Moses at the burning bush to be his emissary, to be his middle manager leader, to be able to lead the children of Israel out of Egypt and into a land that God had prepared for them. We read that in the story of Exodus. Now, how do we apply that to today? You as a leader may not be leading from the top, but that doesn't mean you're not a leader. Just because you are not the president or the CEO of an organization does not mean that you are unable to lead. If you're a middle manager, a shift leader, or a team leader, you're still in a leadership position. And remember this, everybody is leading someone somewhere every single day, even if the only person they're leading is themselves. So you as a leader need to know your position. And you need to know your role within the organization so you can effectively lead and execute the plan, the mission, the goal of the organization as brought down to you from the leaders that are above you. Now, let's pick up and continue on, starting in Exodus chapter 6, verse 30, and move into chapter 7, where I really want to get into today with a couple of thoughts. Exodus 6, verse 30, chapter 7, verse 1. But Moses said to the Lord, "Since I am a man of faltering lips, why should Pharaoh listen to me?" Then the Lord said to Moses, "See, I have made you like a god to Pharaoh, and your brother Aaron will be your prophet." Now, what's the leadership lesson we can gain from that? Perhaps it's different than maybe you thought that, hey, I've got an opportunity to be the God in my organization. That's not the lesson I want you to get. Here's what I want you to get from that particular passage, and that's this. Good leaders build strong collaborative teams. As we look at that particular passage and Moses is having a conversation with God, the CEO of the organization he was leading, Moses brought up an important point. He was not a gifted leader. Whether he had a speech impediment or just struggled with speaking online, or maybe he was a little more introverted, whatever it was that caused Moses not to be a gifted speaker, God, as the CEO of the organization, recognized that. And he saw someone close to him, Aaron, his brother, that was. So what did God do? In his wisdom as a leader, as the CEO of the organization he was leading, he put those two together. He put someone who is a gifted speaker with someone who was not, but had gifts and talents and abilities that could serve in another way. He put those together as a strong collaborative team. Why? Because they complemented each other, and together they could get more done as a team than they could individually. That's a great leadership lesson in and of itself, because good leaders know the strengths and the weaknesses of every team member, and they plan accordingly as they're putting teams together. You want individuals working together to complement each other. You want individuals with one area of strength to be able to support other people that don't have that strength, so that together the output of everyone is increased, and together everyone has the opportunity to achieve more. Now, let's fast forward to verse 6 of chapter 7. It's a very short verse, but it's one that's meaningful in terms of getting a leadership insight that's beneficial to our leadership role wherever we are right now. Exodus chapter 7, verse 6 says this, "Moses and Aaron did just as the Lord commanded them." So the leadership insight from that is pretty plain. Good leaders follow the instructions they have been given by those who are in authority underneath them. Once the decision has been made from the top, once the CEO or the president of the organization says, "This is the plan, this is where we're going, this is how we're going to get there, this is what we want to accomplish at the end of the day," the downline leaders don't question that decision. Once the decision is made, the downline leaders fall into alignment because negotiation, collaboration, and discussion is over. The decision has been made in the meeting or individually by the CEO and the president, and now it's the downline leaders' responsibility to execute the plan. As a downline leader, if you're in middle management or lower management and you're answerable to those above you, it is your job to see to it that your role in what you do and those you're leading help to fulfill the goals, objectives, and outcomes that the organization wants to achieve in the timeline they've established. Remember, good leaders are committed to achieving the goals and the objectives that have been assigned to them and helping the other team members that they're leading accomplish theirs, so that together everyone achieves more and you have an opportunity to take the organization from where it is right now to where the leadership wants it to be in the future. Now, one more leadership insight for today. And again, it's a short verse, but it's one that is very, very powerful and telling, especially in the world we live in today. Chapter 7, verse 7 of the book of Exodus. Moses was 80 years old and Aaron 83 when they spoke to Pharaoh. Now, there's a very powerful lesson that we need to learn from this short passage of Scripture, and that's this: you're never too old or you're never too young to lead. Now, think about it. Moses was 80, Aaron was 83. You know, I think about my dad, who at the age of 70 enrolled in martial arts classes and took his very first martial arts class. He argued for a while that he was too old for the martial arts. But you're never too old for the martial arts. And at 75, I was privileged to watch my dad earn his black belt in Shorin-ryu Karate. Now, you're never too old, never too young to lead in any capacity and in any role. I think back to some of the first leadership opportunities I had was in elementary school when I was tasked with certain responsibilities as a safety monitor or other roles that I served in beginning to learn what leadership looked like. But understand this: with age comes wisdom and experience. So there is a place within the organization for older leaders who have been there, done that, and they've got the experience and the wisdom and the knowledge to bring to the organization that allow them to see the mistakes and understand the mistakes they've already made that the younger people have not made, so they don't make those same mistakes in the future. By the same token, within every organization, there is a need for young leadership, because with youth, you've got energy and enthusiasm and a willingness to learn. When you put the two together, the older sharing their wisdom and their knowledge and their insights with the younger, and the younger bringing the energy and the enthusiasm and the passion to learn and grow, you create a collaborative team that gets great things done. And the exciting part for the young is they get to learn the lessons of the past from success and failure without having to experience the failure to learn the lesson, but recognizing what has brought success in the future and building upon that to create even more success in the future as you look forward. Remember, it's not an issue of age, it's an issue of competency. If you're competent as a leader, you've got the knowledge, the experience, the wisdom, the energy, the enthusiasm. You're committed, you're dedicated, you're teachable, and you're willing to roll up your sleeves and jump in and do what needs to be done. You've got an opportunity to step in and lead in some way. Now, you may get to the point at advanced age that competency is an issue, and at that point, it's good to step back and step away and allow others to step in and take your place. But remember, that's the role of a leader. An effective, knowledgeable leader is focused on equipping those who will one day take his or her place. And that's where, in a leadership team, age is important. Those individuals that have age, that have some seniority, can begin to mentor, train, and equip and empower those who will one day take your place and add their collective knowledge and wisdom to that these young individuals are learning, giving them the opportunity to take that organization even farther in the future. Hey, I hope you've enjoyed this leadership insight from the Bible. Leaders don't always lead from the top. Leadership is multi-directional. Good leaders build strong collaborative teams. Good leaders follow the instruction they've been given, and you're never too old or never too young to lead. Now, if you enjoyed this leadership lesson and would like more leadership lessons, whether faith-based like I do every Wednesday, or general personal growth development and leadership content I share throughout the week and in my podcast on Thursdays, you can find me on several video channels, YouTube and Rumble. You got your choice of 2 video channels. The channel name is the same, Be a Black Belt Leader. It's the same channel on YouTube as it is on Rumble. If you love podcasts, you can find my podcast, the Black Belt Leadership Podcast, on Spotify. It's on all the major podcast channels, iTunes, Google, you name it, we're on it. Now, if you are a person of faith and you want more leadership lessons from the Bible, let me invite you to visit my website, beablackbeltleader.com. In the courses area of my website, you'll find an opportunity to subscribe to a free resource among the many free and paid resources that are there that says Top 10 Leadership Lessons from the Bible. It's an email series that's been put together to share some additional leadership insights from the Bible, looking at key characters from history and how they effectively used leadership, either personally or for the benefit of others. And while you're at my website, beablackbeltleader.com, be sure and check out the other courses. But also while you're there, go to the Contact Us page. There you'll find all the social media channels where Monday through Friday, I'm posting a leadership tip, tool, insight, or resource to help you become a better version of who you are or what you do as you have an opportunity to discover, develop, and deploy your own black belt leader within. You'll also find access to all of the podcast channels I'm on, as well as YouTube and Rumble to access my video channels. My weekly newsletter is on Substack. You can subscribe to that there, and there's a link to do that also on the website as well. Hey, I want to say thank you again for joining me for this Words of Wisdom Wednesday. We have an opportunity each week to look at leadership insights from the Bible. Don't just be a leader, be a black belt leader and live your life with black belt excellence. Dr. John Terry, the black belt leader, I want to say thanks for joining me. Have a great day.